on the remaining questions and topics in reasoning and aptitude for DSSSB JEE and AE. So in this question they have asked the greatest number that divides 245 1029, leaving a remainder of 5 in each of these cases. So again, I said HCF had its own key terms. It is as maximum as possible, as heavy as possible, as largest as possible, as highest or greatest. Since the term uses greatest, we will go for the HCF in this case also, greatest number. So what we will be doing is, since we are dividing the number 245 by this same number and 1029 also, and in both times we get a remainder of 5, which means if I subtract 245 and 1029 by the remainder 5, we'll be getting the numbers which are dividable by the highest common factor of between these numbers, because that's what it is asking, the greatest number, which will eventually be HCF, which divides 240 and 1025 very easily. So hence, subtracting the remainder, we'll get 240 and 1024 out of these two numbers. So the highest common factor becomes of 240 and 1024. We will try to simplify these numbers, which can be written as 24 times 10, 16 times 4. This is also a square of 32, that is perfect square of 32. So 8 times 3 is 24, times 2 times 5, 16 times 16 into 4. Clearly the common number between these two is 8 to 16. This is 16 times 15 and this is 16 times 64. Therefore the highest common factor becomes 16 and the correct answer would be 16. Another question which was previous to the question we had studied, HCF of the two numbers is given as 12. The LCM between the two numbers is 240. One of the number is 48. The other concept is simple. One number into the other number is equals to the LCM of those two numbers and the HCF of those two numbers. In this case the number comes out to be 60. Let's move forward. Here is another question of ratio and proportion, in which the question asked, if A ratio B is 2:3 and B ratio C is 4:5, what would be the ratio A is to B to C? There are two methods to it. One is the traditional method and there is another shortcut. We'll see about it. So what we had is A is to B is 2:3 and B is to C is 4:5. So what we will be doing is we will be multiplying these two ratios, and that A by B into B by C will become 8 by 15. So what we'll try to do is we'll try to write A in terms of C and B in terms of C and C, and we'll simply take the ratio of A in terms of C, B in terms of C and C. That will give us the final answer of A is to B is to C. So multiplying these two gave me the ratio A is to C. I could write A in terms of C as 8 by 15. B in terms of C was already given, so I made the denominator same. I converted B equals 4 by 5 C, which was given, into 12 by 15 to make the denominator same. And when I took the ratio of A is to B is to C, that is 8 by 15, 12 by 15, I multiplied 15 in the ratio, and the final ratio became 8 is to 12 is to 15. Let us see the alternate method. So we had A, B, C. We had to find out the ratio A is to B is to C. What we'll do, we'll try to make a matrix out of it. So A, the first ratio they had given us was A is to B is to 2 is to 3. So I wrote 2 and 3 and I kept a vacant dash in here. Similarly, in the next ratio they had given us B is to C. So A was not given in that. So we'll keep them vacant. Now what we'll be doing is, in this vacant space, I'll simply add the adjacent number. Similarly, in this vacant space, I'll simply add the adjacent number. So here it will come 3 and here it will come 4. So this is the matrix that we finally get. Now what I have to do is simply multiply the column of A, the B and C. So I'll be multiplying 2 into 4, 3 by 4 and 3 times 4 and 3 times 5. So the ratio becomes 8, 12, 15. So this is an alternate method which you can use to save some bit of time. You simply write A, B, C, which is what you have to find. You keep the vacant spaces, you repeat the adjacent number, and you simply multiply whatever the matrix is column wise, and you'll get the final answer of the ratio. Here is another question in which two numbers are in ratio 4:7, and if 9 is added to each, the ratio becomes 3:5. So we have to find the two numbers. So there are also two methods to it. One is the traditional method, and there is another shortcut trick. Let's see. What we'll be doing is we'll write the numbers in the form of 4x 7x, where 4x by 7x is what? Is 4 by 7. And now if 9 is added, so simply the numbers will be added by 9, and this ratio is given as 3 by 5. So let us see. Doing this, x came out to be 18, so 4x was our first number, that will become 72, and 7x was our other number, that will become 126. So 72 and 126 are these two numbers. Let's see the alternate method. So the ratio 1 was 4:7, ratio 2 was 3:5. The added value in both numerator and denominator was plus 9. So what we have to do is we have to first use the top two rows, that is 4, 7, 3, 5. What we'll be doing is we'll be multiplying 4 times 5 minus 7 times 3 in a modulus. The difference will come out to be top cross difference, 4 times 5, that is this, minus 7 times 3 under the modulus. This becomes 1 unit. Now we check the second this next two rows, that is this one. First we used these two rows, now we'll be using these two rows. Okay, so we'll be doing again 3 times 9, 27, minus 5 times 9, that will become the bottom cross difference. This comes out to be 27 minus 45, hence 18. This means that the number which was 4x by 7x, where I can write x as 1 unit, this top cross difference and bottom cross difference have to be equated. So 1 unit becomes 18. Therefore 4x, the numbers 4x and 7x will be x as 1 unit. So 4 times 18, that will be 72, and we have 7 times 18, that will be 126. Hence the answer 72 and 126. Let's see the other question. So here is another question on percentage. It says that a number is increased by 25% and then reduced by 20%. So find the net percentage change in the number. So is it no change, 5% increase, 5% decrease, or 10% increase? So let us assume the number was x. If it is increased by 25%, that will become 1.25 x. Now it says after it was increased to 1.25, we decreased it by 20%. Decreased by 20% is also written as 0.8 times of the number. Solving this will come out to be nothing but x only. Therefore the net change or net percentage change in the number is nothing, no change. You see, anyhow, here x, there was an increase in 25%, so it became 1.25. Then it was reduced by 20%, which is written as 0.80 or 0.8. So 1.25, the number can be written as 5 by 4x. So this came out to be x. Hence there is no change in the number. Let's see another question. It says that in an election, a candidate got 60% of the total votes and he won by 4800 votes. Then find the total number of votes. So let us say that there is a candidate who won and there is a candidate who lost, and this guy received 60% of the votes and this guy received 40% of the total votes, and the difference between the winner and the loser was a number of votes of 4800. So we have to find out the total number of votes. So what we'll be doing is we'll simply subtract the winner's share of 60% of x and loser's share of 40% of x, and that difference is what is 4800. We will equate it to 4800 and the answer will come out to 24,000, which means I can further say, just to understand, that the winner actually won 14,400 votes, which was the percentage of which was 60% of the total votes, and the loser won 9,600, and the difference between these two votes was 4800, by which the winner won. Hence the correct answer is 24,000, which I have written here as 24k. Let's move on to the next question. So here we have another question which says that if a price of an item is increased by 20%, by what percentage should the new price be decreased to bring back to original price? So here are the options: 15%, 16.67%, 20 and 25. Let's see the two methods. First is, the question said that we increase the number by 20%, therefore the number would become from x to 1.2x. Now it said that we have reduced it by r%, which made it back to x. So what I would have done is I would have multiplied that 1.2x into r, and this gave me x, which means r I can write as 1 over 1.2, 5 by 6, which is 0.833, or which is 83.33%, which means I have reduced the number by a percentage of 16.67%. We know that if you have, if you reduce any number by say x percent, let us say 20%, you can write that number or multiply that number by simply 100 minus 20%. That is, if a number is reduced by 20%, I can write it as 100 minus 20%, which is 80%, and I can multiply that number 0.8 times that original number. Similarly, if a number is said to be reduced by 30%, I'll simply multiply that number by 0.70 or 70%. So in this question, I have, since the reduced number is fraction is coming out to be 0.833, what I would have done is I have reduced the number by 16.67%, because 100 minus 16.67 comes out to be 83.33%, which I can write as 0.833. Or the alternate method is, let us assume the number is 100, I increased it by 20%, so it will become 120, and now I have to reduce it by such a percentage that this becomes 100. So what I'll be doing in the number, I'll subtract it from 20. 120 minus 20 will give me 100, which was the original number. So what is the percentage of reduction? It is the reduced value, that is 20, over the original value over which the reduction is done. So 20 by 120 is 1 by 6, which is written as 16.67. Hence the correct answer is 16.67. Here is another question from the topic of averages. It says, if average weight of 8 students is 45 kilograms, and if a new student weighing 54 kilograms joins them, what will be the new average weight? So of course this question simply means that if there were 8 students, N3, N4, N5, N6, N7 and N8, and when we averaged their weights, that is, average of any number is number of people or number of things divided by that number. Now this came out to be 45. Now what they did is, another student joined, let his name be N9, and when we averaged from N1 plus ... plus N9 by 9, what will be the new average is what the question is asking, and N9's weight is simply 54. This is a simpler question. So I can write the equation as summation of the weights of 8 student over 8 was given as 45. So this summation of 8 student is simply 45 times 8, that came out to be 360. Now for the new average, we have to write summation of all these weights, that was N1 plus N2 plus ... plus N8. This was N9, 54 kg given. The whole average of the new sample will be 9, and this will be equals to what? This will be equals to 360 was our previous summation of 8 students. The new weight is 54 divided by 9 is 414 by 9, that comes out to be 46. That is the new average. So the correct answer is 46. Now there's another formula for it which says the new average in these situations is old average plus the weight of the new people or member minus the old average over total new number of the peoples. Okay, let's see the next question. So here is another question in which they have asked us about the average age of family of 5 members is 24 years and the youngest member is 8 years. Then find the average age of the family at the time of the youngest member of born. And the previous question was the average of 6 number is 18 and one number is, if one number is removed, then the average of the remaining numbers becomes 16. Then we have to find the removed number. Let us see. They have said that the average of 6 numbers, let it be summation n over 6 was 18, therefore the summation of 6 numbers from n1 to n6 becomes 108. They said they removed one number, therefore the remaining average became summation n minus 1 over 5 equals 16. Therefore this summation becomes equals to 16 times 5, that is 80, that is n1 plus n2 plus dot dot n5. Therefore now the summation from n1 to n6 initially was 108, and through this solution or this equation we got summation from n1 to n5 as 80. Therefore our number n6 came out to be 28. Therefore the answer will be 28. Now let's see the 29th question, which says that average age of a family of 5 members was 24. The youngest member out of the 5 members was 8 years old. Now we have to find out the average age of the family at the time youngest member was born, where his age must have been 0 years. Let's see. So summation or the average of the family members, where we had 5 family members, would be the summation of their individual ages divided by 5. This is given to be as 24. Therefore this summation of their individual ages when the youngest member was 8 year old is 120. Now they said that at the time the youngest member was born, that is 8 years ago, since his age was 8 years given in the question, when he was born he must be 0 years. Therefore all of the people, be his father, mother, or whatever the members are, they will also be having an age of minus 8 years. If they were, let us say, if someone in the family members was 30-year-old, he would 8 years ago become 22. If someone is 50, he would become 42. So we will be subtracting 5 times 8 in this summation of ages of all the members, and this summation will become 80. That is 8 years ago the summation of the ages of all the members becomes 80, and the number of the members at the time of the birth will be 4. Therefore the new average of the family members becomes the average summation of the average at 8 years before or at the time of the birth, which is 80, divided by the new number of members 4. That is the answer will be 20 years old. You have to keep one thing in mind, is that whenever the question asks at the time the youngest member was born, you have to keep this thing in mind, that it refers to existing members before or at the moment of birth. So total count of member is taken as n minus 1, that is 4 in this case. Kabhi bhi question mein youngest at the time the youngest member was born, that means you will discard one member from the total family count. As you can see, there is an alternative method here where we check the shift entries families average back 8 years. What we do, given was that the average of all 5 members was 24, we will shift 8 years from the average of 5 members. Therefore the new average will become 16. Then we have to convert the sum of 5 people into average of 4 people. So sum of the ages of all family members 8 years ago would be how much? 16 times 5, that is 80. Therefore the required average becomes 80 by 4, because 4 is the new number of the family members. 20 years is the answer. Let's see the profit and loss questions. First one is that if a man buys an article for 450, sells it for 550, what is his profit percentage? So profit percentage is simply SP minus CP over CP. Subtracting selling price, that is 540, from cost price 450 gave me 90. The cost price is how much? 450, because he bought this article for 450. Therefore 90 over 150 is 10 by 50, which is 20%. Let's see another question. He says that by and selling an article for 720, the shopkeeper loses 10%. Then what is the cost price? What will be doing? Since he has a loss of 10%, the cost price will be simply 0.9 times of 720, or you can convert, or you can equate, since he had a loss of 10%, Therefore I can write 0.9 CP equals 720, hence the cost price becomes 800. You see, he is selling price of 720. He must be having certain cost price. So we know that loss is given by loss always comes when your CP is more. So CP minus SP over CP. This is 10%, that is 0.1 CP equals CP minus SP, that is SP becomes 1.1 of CP. Therefore the CP becomes 720 over 1.1, or I can write whenever it is said that there is a loss of 10%, 20% or X%, the loss always occurs on the CP only. If it is 10% loss, then the selling price of yours would become 0.9 times of CP, and they have given that the selling price was 720. So I will be equating 0.9 CP into the selling price the question has mentioned. Had it been 20% loss, then that loss will be on CP only. Therefore the selling price would become 20% loss, that will become 0.8 times of CP. Had that been the case, I would equate 0.8 CP equals 720. Hence correct answer is 800. Let's see another question which says a trader marks his goods 40% above the cost price and allows a discount of 10%. We have to find out the profit percentage. So you see, we follow this chart or this flow where we keep CP, above it we keep SP, and then we above SP we keep the marked price, because the shopkeepers increases the selling price and he then offers a discount over the marked price, and that is his selling price, over which he earns a certain profit. In this question they had said that he marked his goods 40% above the cost price, so therefore he marked his good 40%, that is on cost price he increased the cost by 40%, that is 1.4 times of the CP. Then he gave a discount of 10%. Discount is always on the mark price, therefore he offered a discount of 10% on the mark price. So what I can write is, what the question wants us to find is profit percentage. Now profit percentage is given by SP, CP over CP. We will try to write everything in terms of CP. So let us see. Let us write marked price in terms of CP, that is since 40% rise, so 1.4 CP. Now let us write the SP in terms of MP. SP can be written as 0.9 times marked price because there was a 10% discount from marked price. So MP I can write again in the form of CP, that is 0.9 times 1.4 CP. Therefore or SP also comes in terms of CP as 1.26. We'll simply substitute SP's value, which is in CP, 1.26 minus 1 over 1. The answer comes out to be 0.26 or 26%. 26% is the correct answer. Let's move on to the next question. Here is another question which says that if the cost price of 20 articles is equals to the selling price of 16 articles, that is cost price of 20 units is equals to the selling price of the 16 articles or units. He is asking me to find out the profit percentage. Now profit percentage is written as selling price minus cost price over cost price times 100, where SP minus CP is nothing but the profit I had. Now in this question what the person is doing is that he sorry, I had something so yeah, the profit percentage is what? Profit over CP. In this question what the guy is doing is that he bought 20 articles for a price, but he sold only 16 articles. So he has got a profit of 4 articles because he is still left with 4 articles on which he can earn, which he can sell further. Therefore he has a profit of how many units? He has a profit of 4 units. And how much did he sold? In this case he sold 16. Therefore the net profit would be 25%. For such question, one has to keep this in mind, that in the denominator, the only value that will be coming is how much is going to someone. One can think that why 16, why not 20? Because he did not sold, he did not sold or gave 20 articles to the other person. He sold 16 articles only as selling price, and on 20 items he gained a profit of 4 items or 4 units or 4 articles. Therefore his profit is 4 at the cost price of 16, right? Hence the profit percentage becomes 4 by 16, that is 25%. We can continue another question on this similar pattern. Let us see. The question is that on selling 36 mangoes, a shopkeeper recovers cost price of 33 mangoes only, and we have to find the loss percentage. So you see, now loss percentage is given by what? Loss percentage is given by CP minus SP over CP only. Now in this case, how many, again we'll check what is going to come in the denominator. Denominator में वही आएगा जो हकीकत में या वास्तविकता में उस शॉपकीपर ने एक हाथ से दूसरे हाथ में किसी को दिया. In this case he gave 33 mangoes only. He, sorry, not 33 mangoes. He sold 36 mangoes. Therefore, he gave 36 mangoes only. So, CP, or in the denominator in such case, we only put the value that he actually gave to somebody physically. And since he has recovered only cost of price of 33, he is having a loss of 3 because he is giving extra 3 mangoes and he is not able to recover the cost of these 3 extra mangoes. Therefore, CP minus SP, which is loss, how much loss does he have? He has gotten a loss of 3 mangoes over the cost price of what? Over the cost price of 36 mangoes, because that is what he gave to somebody else. So the fraction will become 1 by 12. 1 by 12 into percentage is written as 8.33%. Hence the answer is 8.33%. Let's see to the next question.